Hello there. We've been discussing ethical leadership, and today's topic is about ethical courage, the courage to act when faced with ethical challenges. Your behavior as a leader and your responses to events and situations influence the behaviors of others, which is why ethical leadership is so important. I'm Dr. Julie Donnelly, and my passion is helping you become the best leader that you can be so that you feel good about your leadership, ability, and skills. You feel confident and you enjoy leading. And together, we change the culture within healthcare and create work environments where people feel psychologically safe, they're engaged, and productive members of your team. Less stress, less burnout, more satisfaction and happiness doing what we love to do, which is caring for people. If you're new to the channel or have not yet done so, then go ahead and subscribe now. Do you feel comfortable speaking up at work? Do you feel heard? What about your staff? Are your staff able to come to you with issues or problems comfortably? Are people open and willing to listen to one another? Do they feel that if they came to you with an issue that it would be managed? A toxic work environment is one where people feel uncomfortable and they don't feel safe to speak up. They worry about how people will respond to them or to their work, how they'll be treated. They may fear being yelled at, being written up, or given poor work assignments. In other words, retaliated against, or even fired for speaking up or rocking the boat, especially if it's against someone who may be special, like a physician, a particular physician, or a higher up. This type of environment is fraught with fear and uncertainty. It's stressful. And it contributes to the environment, such as this, contributes to burnout and increased use of sick time, people leaving the profession, poor morale, and even turnover. So, what would you do if a staff member mistreated you or a colleague mistreated you? You'd want to have the conversation with them, right? Privately. But what if the person gets defensive and loud and is not someone that you could speak to comfortably directly, just you and them, especially if you were alone? What would you do? How would you handle it? Would you handle it? What if it was your boss or that special person who spoke to you inappropriately, yelled at you, or was nasty? And what if it was your staff that came to you with such a complaint? What would you do? How would you handle it? What do you feel is your responsibility as a leader? I can tell you about the importance of ethical courage, which is obviously speaking up, right? And doing something about it. I can ask you questions to help you think things through about what you perceive as right, what's the right thing to do, and we could brainstorm different options so you could decide, how you want to proceed, how you want to handle it. But only you can decide how and when you'll use your courage to speak up and address issues when they arise. Your role as a leader is to lead, right? And to be an example. Ethics asks, where are you leading them? Ethical leadership requires you to know who you are, what you stand for, and it requires you to act. Do you make excuses for the poor behavior of others if someone behaves badly? This would sound like, oh, that's just so and so. That's just how they are. If the behavior feels bad or it's not appropriate, then why are you making excuses for them? What is gained by allowing this behavior? And it is having an impact. What is that impact? You need to know. Would it be okay if everyone behaved that way? What would that look like? As soon as you say that it's okay for one person but not for another, and it's not a disability concern, then you have a problem of favoritism, and and it causes an impact in the environment. People have thoughts about that. In other words, as an ethical leader, there are two areas for your consideration. your own level of ethics and your willingness to tackle ethical challenges. Will you speak up? When? How? What are you willing to stand up for? And the second is you're willing to listen to others' issues and to help create that work environment where people respect each other, where cooperation is praised, and where people feel safe to express their views. Often leaders seek support from a coach to help accelerate the development of ethical and conscious leadership. Many of my clients use me as their sounding board to help them think these through. These are difficult challenges. If I can be of support to you, please reach out. There's no reason to think that you have to handle this alone. You can visit my website and contact me through there at drjuliedonnelly.com. If you do not speak up, then two things happen. The first is the individual doesn't get the benefit of learning about how their behavior impacts others in a negative way. They're not given that opportunity to learn and to grow from this error of judgment in their ways, right? You're not helping them to improve, which is what we as leaders are supposed to be doing. It says that, so your behavior to not address it says that you don't care enough about them to hold them to a higher standard. But what does that say about you as a leader? If you care about your staff, you want to bring out the best in them, which may mean informing them when you see them behave in ways that are less than their best. It's a responsibility that you have, but it's also a benefit to them. So one day I received reports from my staff that one of the doctors, the medical doctors, was nasty and abrasive and to the staff, and she was short with the patients. She wasn't abusive or anything like that, but it was, in this case, this doctor was typically very calm and sweet. She was well liked by the nurses. I could have let it go as a one-time event, but because they sought me out to complain about it and to let me know, and because it was so out of character, I called the lead physician. I was worried because it was so different, and I was worried about her well-being, what was going on. Maybe there was something in her personal life that was triggering this behavior. I spoke with her, and I spoke with him, and he spoke with her, and it turns out that she was experiencing some level of burnout. She thought she was handling herself well, but it was spilling out into her work, and she had not realized how it was impacting her behavior. By bringing this to her attention, we did two things, right? She was able to accept responsibility and get the help she needed to feel better. And second, there's also now a level of accountability so that she knows that she'll need to behave differently and follow through to take care of herself. Okay, and second, so first is the meaning that it gives to that person and the ability that they get to improve themselves. Second is that silence gives the behavior permission to continue. If someone misbehaves to you or in front of you, chances are great that they're doing it elsewhere, right? So perhaps you as the leader can put a stop to that behavior. If you say nothing, the behavior can have dire consequences for the team, for the department, for the organization at large, and even for the individual. And I didn't talk here about medical errors, but medical errors would come into play here too, right? Being willing to stand up for what you perceive as the right thing to do takes courage, and it saves lives. There's always an impact. Failing to act on your part can cause you to struggle with knowing that you could have done something and you chose not to. So yes, you're going to learn to pick your choosing battles. You might not go speak up on every little thing. However, there are times when speaking up is the right thing to do for others, and Speaking up could be the right thing to do to honor you. The message that you give to yourself is that you matter when you speak up. All right, to summarize, ethical leadership is doing what's right even when what's right may not be so easy or clearly defined. Ethical courage is taking the right actions, which requires the courage to stand up for what you believe is right. And becoming an ethical leader requires that you craft a work environment where others are clear about how they should behave as well. And silence gives the behavior permission. But when you speak up, it enables the individual to learn and grow from the experience. You create a space where people feel much more safe to speak up and to make mistakes. You also hold that space for people to become better versions of themselves. And isn't that what being a leader is really all about? So action items for this week, you've identified, if you haven't done so, then identify some areas that you really need to be addressed. Things that are causing you stress, keeping you up at night, right? What do you need to do to face this issue? What resources would help you? What support do you need? What options do you have to face this courageously? We often feel that we have only one option and we get stuck in that limited thinking. Maybe there's other things that you could do to help this person see the error of their ways, or to just speak up about and voice your concerns. What are the steps you can take right now to help you communicate or address these problems? As you start to chip away at the things that are irritating, frustrating, and that are concerning to you, your stress will decrease. Honoring yourself and standing up does take great courage, but you'll feel so good once you step into your power and face whatever it is that you are fearful of. I highly recommend that you keep a journal and reflect upon your daily experience and your learning. Let me know how you're doing. Place your comments or questions below so I know how I can assist you, and I'll address any questions that you have in a future video. If you need assistance sooner, visit me online at drjuliedonnelly.com. Click the like button and be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of the video lessons. Make it a great day, and I'll see you next time.